Heyo, and welcome back to another episode of The Dribble, the show where we take a closer look into the Boston Celtics, the rest of the NBA, and whatever else might come up. I am Luke Irwin, and I am your host. Today, of course, because why not, we have a fantastic episode. The Celtics are officially up 3-0. No team in NBA history has ever overcome an 0-3 deficit. We are up 3-0 on the Dallas Mavericks. Tonight, Game 4, chance to close it out, 8:30 ABC in Dallas on the road. Will we hang banner 18 on the road, or will the Mavs extend the series? Remember, one win away from the NBA Finals still means one win away, and a win in the NBA, and especially with high competition, which, say what you will, Dallas is still the NBA team that made it from the West, is tough to get a win. So one win away. Let's earn that win. Remember that. It's not over till it's over. Have to finish them out. So, look, special occasion. Heading in to Game 4, I'm going to go ahead and just do it. I'm going to bring in Timmy, KGB. We're going to go over some major wager bets. We both won our bets last week, but I have some bets that are pending that I'm feeling good about. And if you're rooting for me, which I think you are, because I'm the hero, he's the villain in this situation. If you haven't caught that throughout the whole year, then I'm questioning your judgment, but I'm the hero. He's the villain. Root for me. Root for his demise. I got some bets that I'm liking. And then plus, we're going to bring in the third brother again to break it down. Mac Attack. Big Max. Wacky Mackey. Whatever you want to call him. Maxwell. That's his formal name. God-given name. God gave him that name. Maxwell. We're going to bring him in as well. And we're going to talk about it all. And there's so much to get into. And I suggest we do. Because this is The Dribble. Hey, basketball. Gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Yeah. Oh, man. Timmy, KGB, Boston Celtics up 3-0. One win away, and that one win still needs to be earned, everybody. Don't act like we've already gotten it. One win away from hanging banner 18. How do you feel?
Lukey, you know I feel good.
You have to feel good.
Oh, I feel good,
you have to feel good.
I mean, we haven't been here for a long time, man. One win away.
One win.
I mean, it's not done, like you said. We got one more, but it feels tantalizingly close. And it is just really nice. So, yeah, this team deserves it. The Celtics have been amazing all year. And this series has been, at least I know you feel the same way, just super vindicating. And honestly, like, Celtics fans have felt this way about this team and have felt confident, and the national media that hasn't necessarily. But yeah, I'm not super surprised, but I'm very happy to be where we're at.
How can you not be happy, man? I mean, look, we have absolutely played team ball. You know what? Let's save this. Let's save our Celtics talk, because actually,
yeah.
In a little bit after we do major wager, I think we should bring in Big Max. I think we should bring in Macky Wacky, Big Max.
Time for a Mac Attack.
The Mac Attack. Let's bring him in here. Not right now. We're going to do major wager, but we'll bring him in here. We'll break down the Celtics on the precipice of banner number 18. But in the meantime, let's make our picks for Game 4, okay? Let's make our picks. Both of our bets hit last week. I had $550 added to mine, which I'm kind of doing the math right now because I have not added these to our total. I had 550 plus 852. I'll do the math later. I'm not sure what that is. And you won your bet. I'll do the math later. I'm unprepared for this part. I just realized.
Both won.
We both won our bet. I won marginally more money because my bet was pretty big. So I won 550. I think you won something like 200 something. But either way, neither here nor there. You're still in the lead by a considerable margin, by at least 400. But I am going to take the lead with my Game 4 pick. My Game 4 pick. I'm going to go first. Do you mind if I go first, Timmy?
Go for it, babe.
Oh, man, you're such a good older brother. You know, just letting me Just you let me go first. Make sure there's no poison in the food. Make sure there's no booby traps in the tunnel, and then you go ahead. Okay, here's my pick. Game 4, Boston Celtics. Chance to close it out, or do the Mavs push it to 5? I have Luka Doncic over 50 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. I've been liking these combo bets. I don't know why. I just think it's a good balance. Maybe it's just the stars we have involved with Tatum, high assist, high rebound capabilities, and Luka Doncic, same thing. So I have him over 50 and a half. 50 and a half seems low. He's been getting over that. He did not. Obviously, that's part of the bet that I won last week is he was under 52 and a half, I believe it was. Elimination game. He's been embarrassed. He's been dragged by the media all day long. The media, and we will later when we talk to Max, has been tearing into him, rightfully so. He doesn't play defense, and it's pretty obvious right now. And he's complaining to the officials, and he's not there with his team, and his emotions are being reflected in the game. It's clear he's just not playing well. So he's been dragged, and I do think he is that guy. So I think he's going to have a big night. Points, rebounds, and assists over 50 and a half. I also have, there's a 3-leg parlay, by the way. I also have Boston Celtics money line in the first half. So first half money line, I think that if the Mavericks do win this game, it'll be second half. It'll be clutch scoring. I think the Celtics are going to come out, play well, and lead at half. And then I'm also going to stick with the halftime bets. I'm going to say total first half points between both teams over 108.5. So, if we have like a 55, 56, whatever game at half, that'll break that. So those are my 3. And that comes to a plus 550. So really high odds. And I'm going to put down the standard major wager, $100. And that would pay out $650, obviously. So those again, Luka over 50 and a half, Celtics money line of the first half, and over 108.5 total points for both teams in the first half alone.
I like it. You're got these high odd, same game parlays, 3 legs. You hit one last week. You need them.
I need them.
I think it's I dig it. Mine is a little more reasonable. Again, another.
I'm sorry. Did you just call my bet unreasonable?
No, I'm just saying, like, well, you clearly you hit yours last week. I mean, they're just long odds, but you need to.
I need the juice.
You don't actually, because you've still got your Maverick or Celtics in 5 hanging out there, so that could save your bacon ultimately. But mine is just 2 legs. I'm feeling sweepy. I'm a little sweepy.
Oh, he's a sweep boy. He's a chimney sweep.
I've got to go to sweep.
I gotta go to sweep school. I gotta learn how to sweep the chimneys.
I will sweep.
You don't know me like I do.
Oh,
I don't know you like
you. So I am feeling. I'm looking at the Celtics. I mean, the Mavs are favored here. The Celtics are +1. I want to go grab that. I really do feel the sweep. I feel it in the bones, deep inside. So I'm grabbing that, and I'm gonna put that with. This looked nice to me. Derek White, another combo stat, just like you did with Luka. Points, rebounds, and assists, 22 plus.
Oh,
seems
easy
reasonable.
money. Take that.
And I like him in this game. Look, the Mavs could easily win here, and it made me look foolish, but I just feel like this team, this Mavericks team, is a little demoralized.
Yeah.
After that loss, I'm banking on the Celtics sort of talking themselves into, we need to win here in 4, don't extend the series.
Yep.
And someone like Derek White could provide
We haven't had that big Derek White game yet.
We haven't. So
and usually there is one.
Yeah, and again, he doesn't have to be that big for that to hit. I mean, that's he achieved that in this past game. So
yeah,
again, Celtics +1, Derek White with that 22 points, rebounds, and assists. That's +138. So
nice.
And once again, $100.
$100. The standard, the major wager standard, please.
So that leaves us with 238. So we'll see.
I like that. Look, It's a
This is
little
the
bit.
last individual major wager of the
This is
season.
the last of this season. Obviously, next season we will be back with crazier bets and wilder things to talk about. It's going to be even more nuts. Marketing, marketing, marketing. Dribble season 2 coming next year at some point. No, not next year. It'll still be in 2024. Anyway, yeah, dude, I like that bet as a last individual bet on the games. It's a little interesting because it's a little bit of a compounding bet. If the Mavericks lose and the Celtics don't get the money line, you lose out on this bet, and they push to 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously,
I'm putting it all on the line, baby.
also, you said the demoralizing thing. I wanted to point out, I just saw Kyrie Irving today in Media Day started talking about, he was like asked a question about the game and about like, how things have gone. And he basically just started pontificating about death. And like, he was like, yes, I've like been through the death of loved ones, and I've, I've done a lot of work to gain through my life, like learning from loss. And he just started talking about these very heavy life moments. And he started talking about family and the blessings of the people around him. And it was a pretty, you talked about demoralizing. It was a pretty like
Yeah,
non-basketball related, very like, remember when LeBron James lost to the Nuggets and he said it's just basketball. It was like one of those. It
right,
was like a
right. We're all
whatever.
gonna
Like I don't
die
even care.
someday, man.
Yeah, we're all gonna die. Like who cares about basketball? And it's like okay, so that could be a demoralizing factor. Yeah, let's go. I'm bubbling, and it just might be my high blood pressure, but like my body is bubbling throughout. And I just have been waiting for an opportunity. I hope it's Friday, but we will get into all that and get into reasons why we are here. Let's bring him in with no further ado. Let's get him in here. The third amigo, the third blind mouse, Max, Mackie, Wacky, Mackie, Attacky. Dun, 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 dun.
Max, Max, Max,
Max,
Max,
Max, Max, Max, Max. Max?
Max.
Max? Max? Max, Big Max, what is up, man? Welcome to the Dribble.
Lukey, I'm excited. I can taste it,
Yeah,
right there.
baby. Can't we all, dude? 3-0 feels good, but as Kobe would say, job's not finished. We talked about that last time. And like every Celtic and every head coach has basically insisted during this media day throughout for game 4, like the job is not finished. We are not satisfied. Some great quotes in there from Tatum, from Brown, from Joe, from everybody. Looking forward to tomorrow night. But first, let's look backward into how we got here. 3-0 right now in the finals against the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, the Mavericks are down 0-3. No team in NBA history in the playoffs has ever overcome an 0-3 deficit. We know this, obviously. The Celtics tried to do it last year and unfortunately failed. So, Tim, I'm going to swing this to you. We're up 3-0. Why?
All right. Why are we up 3-0? Let's see. I mean, there's lots of ways to answer this one. The way I would choose to phrase it is, and I said this to Roz as we were watching the other day. I said the Celtics just have so many different ways to win.
Yeah.
Different paths to victory. Like if you're thinking about game scripts, you're like, okay, so how did the Celtics win? Well, they could win with a good Tatum game. They could win with a good Brown game. They could win with a good game from both. They could win if they had crit stops where, he sort of comes in and provides that depth. They could win on good shooting when some of the role players sort of pitch in, like on a unexpected good Hauser or Tillman night or whatever. They're just, not to say nothing of the game we won because of Holiday's excellence or because,
Right.
whatever. It just seems like if you're rooting for the Celtics, there are so many paths to a Celtic victory. And if you're rooting for the Mavs, there are fewer. Not to be too reductive, but
Well,
in this game, it was really funny because, we had this blow, right? That we weren't going to have Kristaps, and that's tough. Like, I don't want to minimize that. He obviously is a central piece to this team, both offensively and defensively. He had been fantastic. I think we were like a plus 22 with Kristaps in the game in this series and a minus 16. It was like dramatic.
yeah.
And so the response when we found out he wasn't going to play was like, all right, well, uphill battle. What are we gonna do? The Mavericks have the upper hand all of a sudden now, and it's like, we've won the vast majority of our games without Kristaps, and this was no exception. So this game was just like a vindicating game to show that we have different ways to win. This was the first game where we really saw like all four major stars, right, on each team sort of be the
Right.
central piece. So like
Right.
you had Tatum coming out hot. Brown got hot in the second half. Brown put together a great game. Obviously, Kyrie and Luka were both cooking at points in this game, but they sort of canceled each other out, those four,
Yeah.
right? I mean, more or less. And the difference, as always, was the depth. And was these other guys. Hauser hit 3 threes. We even had Tillman hitting the three,
Tillman hit a three. Dude,
White
I like
hitting clutch shots late. So I really felt like when we sort of canceled each other out when it came to like the big pieces, it was our depth, our experience, just the myriad ways to win, and that's why we're up 3-0.
Yeah, and look, we haven't had a Luka nuclear night necessarily, but he has played really well in the first two games, especially. We'll talk about Luka, obviously, but let's we'll get there when we get there.
I would dispute played really well, actually.
Well, in the first two games, at least, I'm talking at least like having scoring output. But my point is, they're two only, like you mentioned, their paths to victory. Celtics seem to have a lot, and the Mavericks only have a couple. And it seems like they have had a couple of those, and they did not win those games. For example, we shot 25%, obviously, in game two. That was one path to victory, obviously, for the Mavericks. Like, just hopefully the Celtics go really cold, because they always do that once a series. We did it. We still win the game. And then the next one was, well, Kyrie Irving is going to save them for one game. And Kyrie Irving went off. He had 35 points in this game three. He looked incredible out the gate. He shot efficiently. Excuse me. He had 20 points in the first half. And he looked like this might be that game. And it maybe was supposed to be, but we still went because of what you just said. All four stars on full go. And it was just the pieces around them and just the way that the Celtics are coached. Max, what do you think? Game three, like, I mean, yeah. I mean, it seemed like one of those games where the Mavs had it going. They had the crowd going, but we still won.
Absolutely. Well, I think, it boils down to two things. Obviously, the depth is huge, but the biggest thing about our depth is that it's just two-way players. Like, Brad is not interested in anybody who only plays one side of the ball.
Right.
And even, we've heard so many times this year, like, Sam Hauser, he actually can defend. It's like, he's actually a very good defender. I mean, he takes a lot of pride in it. He's worked really hard on it. So I think that's the huge thing, is anybody who's coming in, we're not just like, oh, this is the guy who's not in the starting rotation because A, B, and C. It's like, no, because we have better players. That's it. Like, that's the only reason why Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard wouldn't be starting on a team,
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, though, is just you can just see the hunger in the Celtics right now. And like, I'm obviously not saying the Mavs aren't playing hard. They're playing hard, but there's a difference between hustling and just like hunger out there. And yes, I mean, the Mavs are just not playing as hard.
I don't think they're
know
playing
if you guys,
hard. Yeah, I don't.
No, also, I don't know if you saw the report today. Apparently everybody was waiting at their open practice today and no players showed up, and it was only staff. And the media, just watched the staff shoot around for like 10 minutes.
Wow, I did not know that.
So that's, I mean,
look, they could have been
right
having
there.
a players meeting or something. They could have been there. I'm sure that they were. I'm sure it wasn't like, whatever, I'm not going.
Oh, no,
I'm sure there was a reason for it.
That'd be great, but
I want to talk about two things in particular. The first thing I want to talk about, just get it out the way, because we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Luka Doncic and his defense. Everybody's talking about it. That's my reason why we're up 3-0. It's not because of him as far as like his total game. Obviously, he, like I said, I do his on offense. He's still Luka Doncic. He's had a 30-point triple double in this series. Like, he has played well. He's done what he can in spots. But this game, and I know Wendy said those are the winners back there in that tunnel, and Luka's on the ground. And what a bar, absolute bar by Wendy. I mean, and he knew it too when he said it. He just mic dropped on SVP too, on ESPN. Everybody watches. So that was a great line by him. But It's true. I mean, there were so many moments like Luka and all the Mavs fans crying about the late fouls. Like, okay, what about the tic tac fouls where you were just reaching in, you were playing ultra aggressive above the 3 point line on like Jaylen Brown? Like, what about all these fouls that you accumulated? And he kept calling, like putting his hand up, being like, yeah, that one's me. Yeah, that one's me early on. And it's like, well, that stuff adds up. And six doesn't get to six based on one bad call in the fourth. It gets there
Not a
because
bad
it
call
gets,
either.
and it wasn't a bad, and that's my point. Like it, even if it was a bad call, but it wasn't a bad call. That is, first of all, the one where Jaylen falls, you have to call something. But even if it's a no call, sure, I guess I could take it. But that is a foul. And then the offensive foul, I mean the defensive foul, the blocking foul, where people are saying it's an offensive foul on Jaylen Brown. That is absolutely, he's moving to the left. You pick, like I heard somebody say this, like you're picking right now to get in front of a
Oh
person.
yeah, no, that's why it's such a bad play. It's like
Right.
the poor situational awareness to be like, you know what? I know I've been a turnstile this entire series, but I'm gonna be Marcus Smart right now.
Yeah.
What a stupid play!
Like
Like,
I know that my blow by rate is 67.7 when the Celtics drive as him as the primary defender, which is the all in the past 10 years, the worst blow by rate in the playoffs. In the past 10 years, the other two in the top three or the bottom three is also Luka Doncic this year. So right now in this series, he has a 76 or 77.6% blow by rate. And in the Clippers series, he had a 65.2% blow by rate. And in the Thunder series this year, he had a 59% blow by rate, which are all top three in the last 10 years for
and
blow by.
they're egregious too. I mean,
They're
like,
so bad.
like some of these plays, like we've all seen the supercuts, the YouTube sort of like whatever compilations, but like, yeah, he'll get hung up on a screen, he'll switch, then get lost, then be like literally in no man's land. Like
No man's land.
nobody is near Luca, and he's just sort of like, wait,
Well, he's
which?
just drifting.
And
He's
he's
not trying to
drifting
find
around.
anybody.
Yeah,
That the whole thing is he watches the guy go by and then he just sort of like drifts into that space.
Right.
And instead of just looking around frantically for like who's an open man, and you'd think that at least once he would try to do that. I mean, like he's not that slow. Like he could get over to the corner if
yeah.
he's like been beaten off the break. It's like
But
Yeah.
with the
And the Celtics do a really good job of moving at the top of the key, and especially where he is, obviously bringing him to on ball defense. But then, even then, the drive and kick. Like, I love that we've been playing this basketball where when you drive and kick, you're not kicking to get an assist, to get a shot. You're kicking to just shift the defense to then get another swing around and then a drive. And sometimes it does end up in a nice open shot. But like, we are constantly driving and kicking, not for an end result, but for like a flow of offense. And he finds himself in that no man's land. And it just, like you said, lack of effort. I mean, come on. Like on that play where Derek White gets the block, he's marked up, he's hip to hip with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum sprints down the floor. Luka Doncic walks and points, saying, go get him, essentially. And Tatum gets that transition dunk in the second half. And that's like those types of plays are huge. And again, they add up, calling for the foul, sitting on the ground after like not getting hit. And meanwhile, we're playing 4-on-5 going the other way.
yeah, that was a big play. Yeah.
And it kept like that happened a couple times, like that one to end the first quarter where Tatum got the breakaway dunk pass from Derek White. Tatum contests the three, great contest from Tatum on Luka. He back rims it. There's no contact whatsoever. Luka falls to the ground and sits there. Even worse, it's not about Luka's like, look, X's and O's and numbers and all that stuff, whatever, who cares? He leads the team in steals. I don't care. Doesn't mean he's great at defense. His attitude, his unwillingness to go for those loose balls and to keep his mind on the game affects his teammates. On that play specifically, where Tatum got the breakout dunk to end the first and put the Celtics up and also give us a confidence and a good way to end the quarter, PJ Washington, Derek Lively are all looking at the basket and not seeing the trailer Jason Tatum. If you stop it at one point, they're all at the 3-point line at the top of the key on that side of the court. And Derek White has taken like 3 dribbles and Tatum's camped out on the other end. And it's so like, it's not just what he's doing. It's like how he's leading by example, which is the opposite of Brown, Tatum. They're leading by example, showing their, the role players on their team, like we're going to put the effort in on both ends. So are you. And it just starts a trend. And Luka's like, if your leader is the identity of your team right now, it's not a great winning identity.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would add to that too is like, so a lot of this is poor execution by Luka, but it's also like what the Celtics have been able to do. I feel like the Celtics have done a really good job of just like putting Luka in every action
Yeah.
and like really tiring him out. And again, you look at the numbers for these games. Luka got off to a great start in this game. He and Kyrie came out hot. I was like, we're gonna lose this game. Just early for fourth quarter, I was like, this is gonna be one of those ones where the
Really?
Mavericks, they're home. I kind of did. Yeah, I just had a feeling like that's fine. This is gonna be one of those ones where the Mavericks sort of storm out. We obviously worked our way all the way back even in the first quarter and dominated them in the third. But you know, Luca has started out really great in these games, but it shocked me to see that he was seventh in fourth quarter scoring
Yeah.
in the series.
Yeah. I know.
And the whole sort of narrative before this was like, be careful because the Mavericks in clutch situations will make the Celtics pay. The Celtics struggle in clutch situations. The Mavericks are so good in clutch situations. And so I was thinking about the series. It's funny because like in games when it has come down to the clutch, the Celtics have been great and the Mavericks haven't. And Luka like was not there because he fouled out in this
Yeah.
game, right? Like again, that's just such to go for a 50-50 call in that moment when you have 5 fouls with
20
4 minutes,
seconds after getting the fifth foul. 20 seconds. It was 2 plays later.
who knows what would have happened if Luka was in at the end of
Right.
that game because it was 98-100. Like this was a really nip tuck game. So if I'm a Mavs fan, I'm just going, geez, Luka. Like, so it's just very frustrating. And if you're a Mavs fan, if you're a Celtics fan, it's fantastic. But
Yeah.
yeah, the switch of the narrative that the Celtics have been really good in clutch situations. Fending off runs, making big plays. At the end of this game, you had the Jalen putback dunk, the White three, the Jason slam. Like we really did a good job of sort of scoring when we needed to in those moments, and part of it was there was no Luka.
Yeah.
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 Well, I also think we're taking out Luca in a very decisive way where we're not trying to disrupt his shot. Luke, I was saying this to you last night after the game. Uh, Whenever a team tries to stop his shot, you just can't do that. You can't even really disrupt it. Like hand in the face, whatever you're doing, it's not going to work. But if you stop him from getting to his spot, then he can't shoot from the place he wants to shoot from. Like every shooter has those places on the floor. So if you don't let him get to that like 3 feet behind the break at the end of the game to take like a devastating dagger three, like then he can't take the three. Like if he's just too far back, it's like he's gonna lose his dribble and then he's got to give it up and then
Yeah, our defense has been,
yeah.
I mean, shout out to Joe Mazzulla, but our defensive plan is incredible. Both of you remember that before the series started, my biggest point of emphasis, I think, Tim, you asked me the question, how do the Mavericks win? And instead of saying like Luka goes off or whatever, my answer to that was about the interior scoring by Dallas. And they've had a lot of interior scoring, but they haven't felt like that dominant team where that threat is always lurking, that lob threat or that interior pass threat. In fact, the Celtics have been better in the dunker spot and not so much on the lobs, but we've been better on some interior passing and creating plays that way. Credit to Jason Tatum. Look, everybody wants him to score. Everybody wants him to play the efficient game on offense. But I think what's one thing that's getting overlooked in his series is that he has been playing the 5 defensively for a lot of this series. And if you're looking at Derek Lively, who, maybe the lights are too bright, but also he looked great in Western Conference Finals. And I just think that having the versatile, strong, quick defender like Tatum who can disrupt those types of plays and take him out of the offense has been something that's kind of gone under the wayside because that's how they were winning games. With Lively was a huge part of their scheme, and he has been taken out almost completely. I just want to say shout out to Tatum's defense on the putting him on center. That's impressive to have him take that load on this team. The Joe stuff. Joe has been incredible. We've talked about him as a person, as a manager, but game 3, huge game, chance to go up 3-0. They cut it to 1 or 3, whatever it is, late. And we've always all year talked about Joe and his timeouts. And we're like, God damn it, Joe, call a timeout. He calls a timeout when the game is hanging in the balance. And that leads to, which the reason that they got back in the game, the Mavericks, was we started playing iso ball. It was a couple of Jalen just spot up, no dribble threes, like not even dribbling once. Like the Tatum tough jumper at the elbow. We had Peyton Pritchard running the offense and like fully running the offense in pressure moments when the Mavericks were climbing back. It was stuck. We come out 3-minute mark. We do multiple screens. We get Drew drives the baseline. Tatum drives, kicks it to Drew. Tatum flushes out. Drew drives baseline, kicks out for Derek White. That amazing left-handed pass that Drew had. Derek White hits the three at the 3-minute mark.
Huge.
Right, huge separation. Then at 2:22, only 1-2 possessions later, we get an off-ball screen to switch Tatum onto Kyrie, which I think we should do. We should have been doing more of all series. Get Kyrie guarding Tatum. Tatum catches a pass from White into the like high post paint area. Immediate interior pass. Tatum collects it and just bodies, spins, jams. We go back up 6, which again, those cushions, and that's at 2:22 left in the game. Those cushions are huge. And then that allows their defense to get a little bit like unsure of who's getting the ball next. We start running more screens at the top of the key. Jaylen Brown gets a mismatch, hits that step back jumper. I don't want to say ices the game, but close to ices the game.
Pretty damn big shot.
Oh my God. I mean, as big as they come in the finals, 1 minute left when he took that shot. Well, 1 minute and 4 seconds, but a minute left. And it's those moments by Joe where we've been asking for them, but we have to understand how much he's won as such a young coach. And we're in the finals, a chance to really swing the series the Mavs had in game 3. He calls that timeout, and we don't come out looking the same. We come out with looking like how we've looked all series, all playoffs, playing intentionally, playing quick, smart basketball, and playing judicious basketball. Everybody touching it, everybody getting a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, Luke. I think Missoula's been great, but also just the personnel, like the players have responded to these what you would consider not necessarily clutch moments, but like crucial moments in the game. Like every time in this finals, and really in the playoffs in general, it feels like, things could get ugly here. The Celtics make a run or make a series of plays that just sort of put us in a good position. Like the start of this game was a 9-22 run, like with 5 minutes left in that first quarter. Like, and I just remember thinking, like, oh boy, we might get buried just because like the energy in that building was big. Like obviously Kyrie and Luka were great, and we go on an 11-0 run. Like a lot of that was Tatum. Like,
Yeah.
and then later you're like, well, maybe Brown's not playing so well in this first half. He's taking a couple ill-advised shots. Well, he gets going in the third, and then we make that big run to sort of separate in the third. And so it just feels like some of the stuff we were maligning about this team in the regular season, which is like, I don't know, when the chips are down, when whatever, when the pressure's on, do they know how to respond? I feel like you can't say that right now about the Celtics team. Like, not just in this series, but in the past few series, like every time it feels like we're in a high pressure situation, the Celtics seem to make the right plays. And you just outlined in at the end of this game, man, we had a 20-point lead and it got real tight. And again, no Luka, right? But that's his own fault.
Well, no
But
Luka late. Luka cut the lead, but yeah, it got he was the big reason for that.
But yeah, we had to make those right plays, and the Celtics did. So I've just been really impressed ever since the Pacers series with just the way that all these guys, Tatum, Drew, White, Brown. Obviously, we should focus on Brown next, maybe because he was so good in this game and has been the best player in this entire postseason. But just really impressed with their ability to respond to some of these high pressure situations.
Yeah, well, it's really fire and ice. I mean, this was the game that we needed to see out of that duo. You have, I think, Tatum's ice, JB's fire, and you have the Mavs come out. We could have, like you said, easily lost that game. Tatum puts up 20 points, more than he scored in a full game all series long in the first half. He ices out the Mavs fire. The Mavs came out hot. He ices them. He says, nope, this is not going to be one of those games. And then second half, JB lights them on fire. And it's just a perfect duo. And they end up with 61 points combined. And that's a 30 piece and a 31 piece. So I've been so impressed with the maturity of this duo. Max, what do you think about what you've seen from Tatum and Brown and everybody else as far as like coming down the stretch?
Well, I think they're just ready. I mean, like it seems simple, but like they're just ready to do this, and so is everybody else, especially on the starting lineup. But besides White, we've talked about the depth that we have and the amount of guys that we can call on for points. We just have a ton of guys we can also call on for those like big moments where it's like we need somebody to say something to wake us up a little bit. And last night you heard JB and JT say that Drew was that guy that
Yeah.
like kind of stole the conversation. It was like, wake up, let's go. Like just kind of got the team back together. You see Al do it all the time. And like as soon as anybody starts to talk, everybody else shuts up and listens. So, we just have a lot of guys that are equipped for this situation. And I
Yeah,
think like there were a lot of growing pains to get here, but like that's how you get to a place like this. You have to fail a bunch of times.
exactly.
You can't just walk into it. Ask Luca if you could just walk into it without failing a couple times. This is
Walking,
going to
he
make
did.
Luca a better. This is going to make
Certainly
Luca
was
a better
walking.
player. It just will. Like failure is a good thing
Yeah.
in the long run, and we're watching it happen right before our eyes.
And you know
Max,
what's great to watch too is like those reactions as we were going up big, the big brown dunk, and then obviously
big
you had
brown dunk.
the big brown dunk, the Tillman corner three, and the bench. To see the bench the way that they were, like
Oh, yeah.
that is a huge thing, because in these moments, in these tense moments when everybody wants to win and they know that there's the margin for error is small and you have to get a win here, and a big win by the Mavs swings the series. To see the bench so cohesive, and Tatum's right in the middle of it next to these guys who don't even play, a lot of in these playoffs. And just to like see the energy and the connectivity, the locker room seems so, they just seem like they're on the same mission, which they should be, but you'd be surprised. I mean, Celtics teams in past haven't felt like that. But let's talk about Jaylen Brown. I think it's time to talk about Jaylen Brown a little bit.
I want to talk
Unless
about
Tim,
Jalen, but I want to just highlight what Max said, because this is really a good point. Like all we've heard all playoffs is the Celtics are losers because they've been here and they couldn't win. They've been here, they failed. They lost to Miami. They went down 0-3 last year. They lost to Golden State 2020. In the context of us about to win an NBA Finals, because
potentially, yeah,
potentially, but we're
we
up
gotta
3
win.
0. We gotta win. I'm not saying, but we do. But all those quote unquote failures, that is why. Look,
Yeah,
you asked the question first, why are we winning? That's the answer, really. That this team has been tested, maybe not in this postseason. Yeah, it's been an easier path, but like this team has been tested. They've failed. They've learned from their failures, and what we're seeing, as you said, Max, is like a very cohesive, focused, mature, poised effort from everybody.
yeah,
That's it. We're just
yeah,
better.
That's it. That is it. And look, what a journey to get here. Like the amount of deep playoff runs that we should not even have been to begin with, is just is like you said, that's a great way to put it. Why? It's because of all these experiences. It's because we know how to react. I mean, Kyrie, I think I very ironically said it in the beginning before a single game has been played. He said, experience is the best teacher. And he kept saying that. He kept talking about experience and how like it was more in the context of him and how he's overcome his situation with Boston and how he's like kind of grown from that. But he kept saying experience is the best teacher. It's the best way to learn. And here we are. Experience has brought the Celtics to be up 3-0 on his team. And he is now 13 and 0 against the Celtics since stomping on Lucky.
I can definitely say we could not have done it without him.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky, of course. Lucky is a huge part
All right,
of this.
but let's talk about JB though.
Yeah, let's talk about Jaylen Brown. Look, again, this elevation of his game is purely out of grit and hard work and off-season work. This was not something that people saw him at this level. People did not think he was going to get to this level. This is him putting in work. He talked about it today in media. He said that last year when JT got hurt in the first place, sprained his ankle against Miami in Game 7, he said it was on him and everybody looked to him to win that game and take them to the finals. And he said he was embarrassed by his performance and that motivated him all offseason, and that he has come back with a vengeance and he has not stopped thinking about that Miami Heat series. And that is specifically, he mentioned Game 7 where he came up short. He played terribly in that game. We needed him. JT was out. But here he is, another level of growth in the same vein of what we're talking about, where this team is here because of the experiences. What a mature player he is to be to grow to where he is now. I mean, it's incredible to see. And it's so incredible to have a duo like this. And they're both on contracts, or well, JT is about to be on a huge contract, but they're both going to be on huge contracts for the next 4 or 5 years. So I think we're in for a long ride with these two.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable to watch JB in this postseason. Like he has been our best player. Uh, it's not even close. Would you agree? I mean, like he has.
I wouldn't say not even close, but
Yep.
he has been our best player. I wouldn't say it's not even close, but
Again, it's not like in a hot takey way to take away anything from Tatum. Tatum's been awesome, but like,
no, I know.
yeah, Jaylen Brown has just you said it. Like he adds something every year, and I think after last year, even fans of Jalen, like myself, might have been like, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. He has some flaws, for a guy who, whatever. Like those flaws, everyone has flaws. No one's a perfect player. Those flaws have become very minuscule compared to what he gives you. He's the most consistent scorer. Like even last game where he got off to a slow start, like that he's always going to rebound. He's always going to get back into the flow of his offense. And yeah, I just think it's been amazing to watch him just like get to his spots, score over guys, like score in tough situations, his finishing at the rim.
And to your point, the consistency in scoring is a new thing. He used to be the opposite. It would be 30 one night and then 11 and 9. It's like, oh, JB just is not part of the game. And then 20, 28, and it's like, oh, JB's right there with JT. And then it would be like a night of 9. He has been at that 25
Every
level,
game.
30, 25, 30. He's right in that level. Super impressive.
Yeah, he's also just moved past the idea that he needs to play a certain way to prove a point, because we've all seen that for years where he just comes in and you can tell it's like, oh, this is JB's game. He's going to shoot a million times if he has to. He's trying to go off here, and he's found a way to assert himself without getting in the way of anything else or taking up too much air or anything. Just kind of like the way that he's found a way to go as hard as he can to the basket, but then at the last second slow up just enough to put some soft touch on it instead of just going crazy and like flying into the lane without sort of any plan to it.
Yeah. Look, it's such a luxury having those two guys. Like it's that much of a luxury. We saw it. Game 3 was a perfect example of it. We talked about it. One goes off in the first half. The other one finishes the job. And they're two guys who have bought in the unselfish play, and both guys buy in on the defensive end, which we've seen that a star has to do that. Luka Doncic, I'm talking to you. So yeah, that is game 3. Celtics up 3-0. Game 4 tonight when this is airing. Right now, it's Thursday night where we're running this, but tonight, Friday, ABC, 8:30, game 4 in Dallas. The Boston Celtics have a chance to capture banner number 18 on the road, which would be no less sweet. Let me tell you, it would be just as sweet. But what do we think is going to happen? Like, do we see the Mavs taking one? My prediction for this series before it started was Celtics in 5. It could certainly shape up for that. But we've seen some Herculean efforts go south, and we've seen some bad shooting nights be wins for the Celtics. So what do you think about game 4? Do you think we close it out and we're partying Friday night, or do you think the series gets extended?
Well, I also thought it was going 5. I'm tempted to shift to a sweep just because I'm getting a little excited. But I do think that they have it in them to take one game. So, I mean, I'm going to stick with that, especially if there is just like a really prove something Luka game and he just really goes off for 50 or something. But yeah, I'll be honest, my head says 5, my heart says we're winning tomorrow.
Damn. All right. I like it. Timmy?
Sweep.
Sweep. Sweep,
dude.
Sweep. Sweet.
I don't know, man. The Mavericks could win a game, but like they're not going to. They're
like
just
it.
not. I don't know. I really feel like if they were going to win one, it would have been one of the last 2 games. This, from what I've seen, I'm not an expert on the Mavs. I mean, I've seen what I've seen. I don't think they have the toughness to win in this situation. I don't think they want to go back to Boston.
But closeout games are hard. They're hard. And especially
they're harder.
Guys who are as good as Kyrie and Luka can be on the offensive end. and it's all NBA. I mean, these guys played well. I think I still am sticking to my prediction of 5, and I think that you're sticking to sweep because in our major wager
Yeah.
draft of how the series was going to go, I had Celtics in 5, and with my win last week, combined with my eventual win on Friday, combined with my possible
Well,
game 5 prediction.
I won last week too, Luke.
No, I know, but I mean, I won bigger.
You won what?
I won bigger. I won more
Oh,
money.
You did. Your bet was longer.
So I at least climbed a little bit. And then combined with my future win in game 4 and my game 5 prediction coming true, it's just I see why you're picking the sweep. No, obviously, look.
Well, I mean, both reasons.
It looks obvious. Like we should. I'm apprehensive to call a sweep.
Do you really think that this Mavericks team, like the way that they've been beaten in the scenarios that they've been beaten, is going to be like, you know what? Here's where we get a game.
Tim, here's the deal. Say the same thing happens. Last game happens this game, but Luka doesn't foul out. You just said anything could have happened when you're down. It was 101-98. It's a 3-point game. Yeah, we win down the stretch. We've been making those plays, and I still think I'm not going to be shocked if we sweep by any stretch. I'm saying gentleman's sweep. I mean, it's not like I'm saying this thing is going to be stretched out. But look, Luka doesn't foul out. Game 3 could have been a lot different, and it would be foolish for us to be cocky and ignore that. That like it hasn't been these blowouts where they haven't been able to do anything against us. And I know we were up by 21, but the game is the game. It was 3 with 3 minutes left. So I think they steal one. I thought in the beginning of the series they would steal one, and I think this is the one they would steal. Honestly, I thought we'd win game 3, and I was right. And I thought that game 4 would be the one that it's tough. Closeout games are tough.
Yeah, they're wicked tough. But I also thought that they would take one. But I also thought they'd look a lot better than this. So
yeah,
I think it's just hard to win one when you're down 0-3. And you're like, dude, we're not going to win this series. Like nothing about the Mavericks like behavior or attitude tells me that they still think they're in it.
Are you the second coming of Bill Simmons, the body language reader?
Sure, I can read
language doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, they could win, but my prediction, if you're asking for a prediction, is sweep.
Well, man, what a ride that would be! I cannot wait. Look, we've been waiting for this opportunity as fans, and they have been waiting as players, and they've been working. It's just it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun game, and I'm excited because I do think we're going to get the best punch from the Mavericks. And I think that we saw some better shooting from PJ at the end of the game. I think we saw a little bit more involvement from some of the other players in game 3 than we did see in game 1 and game 2. That crowd can be loud. And so I think we're going to get their best punch. Do we come out winning? I think so. I hope so. But does my gut tell me that Mavs probably get 1? Yeah, it does.
Okay. We'll see.
Sue me for it. Maybe I'm just being cautiously optimistic.
I get it. I mean, as I said, my head says sweep and my heart says 5. Or my heart says sweep and my head says 5.
I will have an answer by halftime tomorrow, just seeing how we're playing. Because I think that we've said all the right things. We've said, I've loved some of the quotes that have been said. Did you guys hear that Tatum quote today during media availability, which he, they asked him about, focusing on what like on trying to make this day and Friday more normal, knowing that they could potentially be raising banner 18 for the Celtics in 48 hours. And he said, we're not necessarily saying one more or anything like that. We're just saying however long it takes. Nobody's relaxed. Nobody's satisfied. And then when asked about the context of winning an 18th ring, he said essentially, well, even if we were to win this, you guys would probably asked about the context of how good this team is with point differential. And the right now we're potentially would be 80-20 if we were to win on Friday, and that'd be one of the best overall records by any Celtics team in history. And his answer to that was, well, if that was the case, you guys would probably just say that we didn't play anybody to get here. So I guess we'll just have to do it again next year. And he stepped off the podium. And I just thought that confidence is like why you guys are both thinking sweep, right? And why I wouldn't be surprised. Like there is an attitude, there is a confidence that comes with teamwork. building and experience with this team. And how scary is it to have such a young team have so much experience?
Yeah, it's true.
That's scary. Yeah. That's scary. Usually this experience comes when you're Kevin Durant, you're 30 years old, and you go to the, Golden State Warriors or something like that. And this is experience. This is really good. All right, guys. Well, game 4, like I said, Friday, 8:30 ABC. Be there. Don't be square. I won't be watching it with you two. I wish I was. I'll be watching it alone in my dungeon, screaming at the television, drawing with permanent marker on my TV, different plays that I want to see run.
We'll FaceTime you and Luke.
Oh yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Don't do it if we lose, because wherever I'll be, I won't have service.
We won't.
No one wants to see that.
Work that way.
No one wants to. I don't want to see that. All right, guys.
All right.
Well,
go
game
C's.
4. Let's go, C's. Come on, finish this thing off. One win, ladies and gentlemen. One win. One.
That's all it takes, baby.
Look, I say we go watch the game.
And I suggest we do.
This has been the Dribble.
Oh, God. I'm just going to do it. All right, guys, this has been it. Good talking about ball. We will, of course, be here to talk about game 4, what happens. Regardless if we win, lose, there will be an episode celebrating or looking forward to the next game. Because this is the Dribble.